Coming up on the show today, we take a look at the results from the 4 stage races which took place last week, take a look at the Pioneer Powermeter which has just been released. We have a word with Helen Wyman after there's more good news for women's racing, and with Matt Rendell about the recently released Pantani film. We've also got our GCN STRAVA Club, a tweet of the week from Simon Clarke, and finally we take a look forward to what's coming up on the channel. For those of you who haven't seen them, we've got a playlist of daily race roundups from the Tour of Oman. And it was an ominous return to competition for Chris Froome of Team Sky, who annihilated his competition on the penultimate stage up Green Mountain. The results on the stage and the overall were the same for the top 3, with TJ Van Garderen of BMC his closest challenger in second, and his former teammate Rigoberto Urán, now with Omega Pharma Quick-Step, rounding out the podium in third. A quick look at the times set over the last 4 years up that climb reveals just how fast Froome went up it just last week. Can anybody beat him at this year's Tour de France? Let us know if you think they can in the comment section below. One person who certainly will be looking to push Froome this July is Alberto Contador, and last week he returned to his winning ways at the Vuelta Algarve, taking the penultimate stage solo up the Alta de Mallao. Mark Cavendish opened his account for the season by taking the final stage of the race, and the race overall was dominated by his teammate Michal Kwiatkowski, who won solo after a breakaway on stage 2 and again winning on the stage 3, a time trial with an incredible average speed of 58 km/h. The opening stage had been won by Sacha Modolo of Lampre Merida in what was his 4th win of the year. Another person who could be a thorn in the side of Team Sky at the Tour is Carlos Betancur. The Colombian from AG2R took his first win of the season on Saturday at the Tour du Haut Var and quickly backed that up with a 2nd place on the stage 2, which was enough to seal the overall victory. Betancur is apparently still 6 kilograms overweight after a slightly overindulgent off-season, so it'll be interesting to see how many improvements he can make over the next 5 months. The last stage was won by Moignard of BMC, his first win actually since joining the team back in 2011. The race didn't get off to the best of starts for Team Sky, who awoke before the first stage to find they'd had 16 bikes stolen. Luckily for them, they were near to their training base in Nice, and so they could use the bikes from there for everybody except Sébastien Henao, the brother of Sergio, who was forced to use a loaned bike from the Bretagne Séché team. To make sure you keep your bike safe, make sure you look at our bike security video. Over in Spain, Alejandro Valverde has won the Vuelta Andalucia for the 3rd year in a row in what was an extremely dominant performance. He won the prologue by a clear margin and then followed that up with wins on stages 1 and 2. The final 2 stages ended up in bunched sprints, with MTN's Gerald Ciolek taking the first of those, then the final stage was taken out by Moreno Hofland, who gave Belkin their first win of the year. There's been yet more great news for women's racing as the Koppenberg Cross has announced that next year there'll be equal prize money for the men and the women. We caught up with Helen Wyman, the British rider, to find out why this is such a big step.
You know, I work on the UCI Commission and I know how long things take to change, and when a race so iconic as the Koppenberg comes along and says, you know, we really want to do something here, and an American company step in and say, we believe in equality in women's, between men and women's sport, and, you know, let's get together and do something. And they put together equal prize money. It might not sound like a lot, that, you know, the difference in the prize fund is €5,000, but it's a huge step, because it means that people are believing in us and believe that we should be getting paid the same. And you know, the first person is the first person, whether they're male or female. We're still training just as hard as the guys are to be the best at our sport. And so, to me, it's a huge step in the right direction.
It's now 10 years since the death of Marco Pantani, and a film was recently released in Italy to tell the story of his life and career. We caught up with Matt Rendell, who wrote this book, The Death of Marco Pantani, to find out his thoughts on the film.
It was very clear from me from the word go that James Erskine, the director, wanted to make his film. He used my book, he read my book, we spoke about it a great deal, but I didn't want to have any editorial involvement whatsoever. It felt to me that it was right that he should make his film and his vision, and there should be no confusion between those two things. And I think it's one of the most impressive cycling films I've ever seen.
Release dates for the film in the rest of the world will be announced shortly. This week has seen the closest ever tussle between two people at the top of the leaderboard for the longest distance ridden. Just 100 metres separating these two when they'd both done over 1,000 kilometres in total. Jack Haig eventually getting the better just over Cycle Doctor 1. Meanwhile, the longest ride was done by Dimos Balgranidis at just under 320 kilometres, and Cormac Keeney has been getting the miles in southern Spain and clocked up the most climbing at 15,440 metres. Last week we featured Pioneer's original product on our Powermeter of the Peloton video. Well, they've come out with a new one which is called the Athlete Lite. At $1,850 for the Dura-Ace model, it is significantly cheaper than an SRM and arguably has more features. It measures force and direction of force, allowing you to see the efficiency of your pedal stroke. It also calculates left and right side power independently, highlighting any strength discrepancies between your legs. Pioneer do have their own head unit to go with the Powermeter, but you can also use your own, such as Garmin, if you prefer. Last week's Caption of the Week photo was this one of John Degenkolb. And our winner is Max Thomas, who simply said, "Give me a break, it's still only February." Does it sound right, that?
Yeah.
Tweet of the week comes from Simon Clarke of orica-greenedge, who on Sunday posted this photo saying, "Just going to put it out there, today was the nicest day I have ever ridden my bike. Lake Como, love Europe in Feb." And if that didn't make us jealous, then the following day he certainly did. He posted another photo up just saying, "Here is another cool photo from yesterday's ride, Lake Como at its best." Coming up on the show this week, on Monday we released the latest of our maintenance videos showing you how to get home if you break your rear mech or hanger out training. On Wednesday we give you our tips on how to fuel for winter riding, and on Thursday we've got our long awaited follow up to the top 10 fashion disasters, which is voiced by Matt Stevens, who also features on the video. On Friday we take you inside the Campagnola factory showing you how they make their chains, and on Saturday we've got the first of our new spin class series with Jess Palmer. That's all for this week. Thank you very much for joining us, and don't forget to share and like our videos. We're getting close to that 200,000 subscriber mark now, and when we do, that big prize giveaway can begin. Maljao. This is a situation that actually is very hard to get out of, but if you've got the patience and the right tools with you, it can be done, and you should be able to bodge it so you can ride home. What we're going to try and do